Welcome back to Coffeesodes, everyone. I'm Josh, and this is episode 33.
Hey, everyone.
Today, we're diving into some research that is absolutely out of this world.
Literally.
Literally. I'm joined by Kelly, ready to help us unpack it all.
I'm excited to break down this fascinating research with you guys.
As always, be sure to check out the episode description for links to the studies and more. Today, we're tackling a challenge facing future lunar settlers. And get this, the solution might involve astronauts training like daredevils.
What?
In a wall of death. You know, those crazy motorcycle stunts inside a giant cylinder.
Yeah, it sounds pretty wild, but there's some solid science behind this idea.
All right, so for those who haven't spent much time thinking about lunar living, what's the big deal with low gravity? Why is it such a problem for our bodies?
Well, we evolved under Earth's gravity, right? Our
Right.
bodies are finely tuned to function in this environment. When you take away that gravitational pull for extended periods, things start to go haywire.
Haywire,
What?
what kind of problems are we talking about?
Bones becoming weaker, muscles wasting away,
Mm.
and even your cardiovascular system struggling to keep up. Long-term exposure to low gravity can really take a toll on the human body.
So traditional exercise, like what we do here on Earth, isn't enough for astronauts.
It helps, but it's not a perfect solution.
Okay.
The thing is, treadmills and weightlifting in space just can't fully replicate the resistance and stress our bodies experience under Earth's gravity.
Okay, I'm starting to see the problem.
Yeah.
So how does this wall of death idea fit into all of this?
Researchers at the University of Milan
Okay.
were looking for a way to create artificial gravity,
Uh-huh.
something that could better mimic what our bodies are used to.
And they landed on a giant spinning cylinder?
It's not as crazy as it sounds.
Okay.
Think about those motorcycle stunt riders.
Mhm.
When they ride horizontally along the wall of the cylinder, they're essentially pinned there by centrifugal force.
Right, the force pushing them outward?
Exactly.
Yeah,
And that outward force can be harnessed to simulate gravity.
okay.
The faster the astronauts run, the stronger that outward force becomes, and the closer they get to experiencing something similar to Earth's gravity.
So it's like tricking their bodies into thinking they're back on Earth just for a little while.
Yeah,
Did they actually test this out?
they did.
Really?
They built a test structure and had participants run inside, carefully controlling the conditions to mimic lunar gravity.
Okay, I'm hooked.
All right.
Walk me through how they pulled this off.
Okay.
What did their experiment actually look like?
Well, they couldn't exactly build a structure on the moon, so they had to get creative here on Earth.
Right.
To simulate that low gravity environment,
Yeah.
they used a system of bungee cords and harnesses.
So the participants were kind of suspended in the air.
You got it.
Oh.
The bungee cords were carefully calibrated to counteract most of the participants' weight, making them feel like they were on the moon in terms of gravity.
And then they had them run inside this wall of death?
Yep, it was a sizable wooden cylinder designed to allow them to run horizontally along the wall.
Okay.
They even had a ramp to help them get up to speed.
Cool.
Yeah. The results were pretty remarkable.
So last we left off, you were describing how researchers simulated lunar gravity using a pretty ingenious bungee system
Yeah.
and had participants running inside this giant cylindrical structure. What did they find? Did it actually work?
They found that by running at certain speeds, the participants were able to generate enough centrifugal force
Wow.
to experience a gravitational pull comparable to what they'd feel on the moon or even a bit stronger.
So they were basically creating their own gravity.
It really is. And what's even more fascinating is that they're running biomechanics.
Okay.
The way they moved was surprisingly similar to how we run on Earth.
So it wasn't just about the numbers.
Yeah.
The force they were experiencing, but how their bodies actually adapted to this unique environment.
Precisely. They were analyzing things like stride length,
Wow.
how often their feet hit the ground,
Uh-huh.
and the forces exerted with each step. And despite running horizontally inside a cylinder, their movements closely resembled normal Earth run. It was like their bodies were tricked into thinking they were back on solid ground.
That's amazing. It makes you wonder if the brain even registered the difference.
Yeah,
But hold on, this all sounds a bit too good to be true.
right.
Were there any downsides or risks they discovered spinning around? Like, that can't be all sunshine and roses.
You bring up a great point. There are always potential risks to consider when you're pushing the boundaries of human physiology like this.
Like what kind of risks are we talking about?
Well, one obvious concern is dizziness and disorientation. Imagine yourself spinning around inside a cylinder.
Yeah.
It's bound to mess with your inner ear and that sense of balance.
I'm getting a little queasy just thinking about it. Not exactly ideal for astronauts who need to be sharp and focused on a mission.
Exactly. And then there are the challenges of coordination and balance. Running horizontally against a wall requires your body to work differently compared to running on a flat surface.
Right, especially with the bungee cords and harness, adding another layer of complexity.
Right.
It sounds like a recipe for a tangled mess, or worse.
Definitely something to consider. And of course, there's always the risk of injury.
Right.
If an astronaut were to trip or lose their footing while running at high speeds inside this structure, the consequences could be serious.
So it's not a risk-free solution, but it does seem to have some incredible potential benefits.
Yeah.
We talked about the positive effects on bone and cardiovascular health, but you mentioned that low gravity affects more than just our physical health.
That's right. It also impacts our neurological function, things like spatial awareness, our ability to perceive where we are in space and how well we control our movements.
I can see how that would be crucial for astronauts.
Yeah.
What happens to the brain when it's deprived of that constant gravitational input?
Well, studies have shown that prolonged exposure to low gravity can lead to a decline in these important neurological functions. Astronauts may experience difficulty with coordination, have trouble judging distances accurately, or even struggle with simple tasks that require precise movements.
Wow. So it's not just about physical strength and endurance. It's about maintaining the brain's ability to function at its best.
Yeah.
Could this wall of death idea actually help with that too?
That's the hope. By periodically exposing the brain to these bursts of artificial gravity, it's like giving it a much-needed workout.
Right.
It could help maintain those crucial neurological pathways and prevent the decline in function we see with prolonged low-gravity exposure.
So it's not just about mitigating the negative effects. It's about optimizing human performance in this challenging environment. It's almost like instead of just trying to survive in space, we're figuring out how to thrive there.
That's a great way to put it, and that's what makes this research so groundbreaking.
Yeah.
It's pushing us to think beyond just keeping astronauts alive and healthy,
Right.
but enabling them to function at their peak.
This is definitely giving me a whole new perspective on space exploration.
I'm glad it's exciting stuff, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's clear that this research has huge implications for future lunar missions. But what about beyond the moon? Could this concept be applied to other space exploration goals, like, say, a mission to Mars?
That's a fantastic question, and one that researchers are already starting to explore.
Okay.
But adapting this concept for a Mars mission would bring its own set of unique challenges.
Like, what would be different about applying this to a Mars mission?
Well, for starters, Mars has even weaker gravity than the moon, only about 38% of what we experience here on Earth.
So the challenges would be even greater.
Exactly. We'd need a much larger structure.
Oh, wow.
To generate the same level of artificial gravity. And remember those risks we discussed. Things like dizziness and the potential for injury.
Right.
Those would need even more careful consideration in a Martian environment.
It sounds like a Martian wall of death is a whole other ballgame.
It is.
But even with these challenges, the potential benefits seem huge.
Yeah.
It feels like this research is opening up so many possibilities, not just for astronauts, but maybe for all of us back here on Earth too.
Absolutely. The things we learn from space exploration often have unexpected applications in other fields.
Like what? Can you give me some examples?
Well, take memory foam mattresses, for instance. Those were originally developed by NASA.
Oh, really?
For cushioning spacecraft seats and scratch-resistant lenses. Another space-age innovation that's now commonplace. Who knows what everyday technologies might emerge from this research into artificial gravity.
It's fascinating to think that something designed for astronauts on the moon could end up benefiting people dealing with bone loss or mobility issues here on Earth.
Precisely, this research could lead to new therapies for osteoporosis, improved training regimens for athletes, or even more accessible ways for people with disabilities to experience the thrill of movement. It's all about pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
It really makes you appreciate the interconnectedness of scientific discovery, how something that starts as a solution for one specific problem can have ripple effects across so many different fields.
And that's what makes science so exciting.
Well, this has been a mind-blowing journey, from the challenges of low gravity to a potential solution that sounds straight out of a sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
Who would have thought that a wall of death could hold the key to unlocking human potential in space?
It's a testament to the power of human ingenuity, and it's a reminder that there's still so much we don't know, so much left to explore.
We hope you've enjoyed this whirlwind tour of cutting-edge science and the future of space exploration.
Thanks for joining us on Coffeesodes. Be sure to check out the episode description for more information. And remember, the next time you encounter a seemingly crazy idea,
Right.
don't dismiss it too quickly. It might just be the spark that ignites a revolution.
Until next time,
You go.
keep those coffee cups full and those minds open.